Hi, Endless Honeymoon Podcast listeners. We are doing a couple of very special live episodes of the Endless Honeymoon Podcast in a town near you. You excited, Tosh?
Well, it's my two favorite cities.
That's right. It's San Francisco and Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon will be there the weekend right before Christmas. We'll be doing regular stand-up Thursday through Saturday, and then on Sunday, we have a special live episode of the Endless Honeymoon Podcast with a special guest, Ian Carmel, and maybe even more special guests. Would you like to come? Buy a ticket. Would you like to be on it and not even have to buy a ticket? Email us, endlesshoneymoonpod@gmail.com, and say why you want to come on, what you need advice for. It'll be really fun. January, we are coming to San Francisco Sketch Fest at the Marines Memorial Theater with very special guests, and you can be a part of that as well. Buy a ticket, go to sfsketchfest.com, or email us, and you don't have to buy a ticket. You'll get in for free.
Wait, but don't come up on stage just because you wanted to get in for free.
That's true.
That would be really annoying, Moshe. You shouldn't encourage people to do that.
Well, we're going to vet them. They're not just going to email us and automatically come to the show. I mean, if they're saying all I want to do is touch Natasha and her beautiful Third Love bra, well, they're not going to get up on stage. But if you have an issue you want to work through with us live in Portland or San Francisco, email us, endlesshoneymoonpod@gmail.com, and go to Helium Portland or San Francisco Sketchfest.com. Buy a ticket. Come see us soon. We love you. And we are here, Endless Honeymoon Podcast once again. We're drinking canned wine. Things are getting crazy. The couple that we have here, we're very excited to have them. They're already holding hands, so this might be
a first.
This might be the sweetest episode that we've ever had. Natasha and I, we don't even touch anymore.
No, we do.
But joining us today in the studio, it's Paula Pell and Janine Brito. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Janine,
guys.
I know from
the Bay Area.
The Bay Area. I saw her as just a neophyte, just a small child,
just a little embryo,
a little comedy zygote. That's right. And thank God, we stomped out Choice in the San Francisco open mic scene, and she made it to full term.
I did.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I got incubated in Oakland for my little preemie incubation.
That's right.
And then I graduated.
All the older comedians would come around and sort of give her formula and stuff like that.
And
pull out a teat.
I've been telling everyone how funny Paula was in Wine Country, who would talk to me. After I saw it, I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, you were great.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you guys here.
That was real fun. That was a real trip we went on, so it was fun to reenact it because it was
it came from a real trip.
It was a real trip we went on, yeah.
Oh,
wow.
That is a real trip.
I can't wait to start writing movies in places I want a vacation.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. No, I worked on, did Punch Up on Zoolander 2. And
in Rome.
And it was just
my God, yes, please.
My friend was in Rome recently talking to a comedian, and it was like the whole Italian film industry was talking about that film, like, oh, they just wanted to come to Rome. Like, people were flying out their families, and they were flying first class back and forth.
I went 3 times, and I had never been to Italy. And one time I went for like 3 weeks. It was amazing.
Oh, my God. Janine, do you want to write a movie that takes place in a senior dog sanctuary?
Yes, please. So
in Italy? Wait. Can't you?
I mean, it could be on a hillside somewhere.
We're
just
just
in the
supposed to
woods
sex it up in some way. We were in a great locale, a senior dog center in Tuscany or something like that. That seems like the order of business.
Who's the woman in Venice? Is it Guggenheim? Who's the woman who has all those dog? She has all those dog. She's died at the funeral.
What? It's Natasha's first time podcasting. This is kind of cool for.
Who is that old rich lady who has all her dogs' graves like lined up in Venice? Remember, she has a museum there.
Oh my God!
Oh, I don't know. I remember there. Yeah,
I want to know her.
She only has Lhasa Apsos. Is it Peggy Guggenheim? I think it's Peggy Guggenheim.
That's made up. It's not Peggy.
I think
Wait, how are you going to call it
there's
Peggy?
a Peggy Guggenheim, I think.
Well, should we look it up?
Can we do a little editing there, though?
No, we're not. That's all going straight in. So now you got, so you're each individually.
She buried all 15 of her Lhasa Apsos in.
So we're not going to drop it.
Okay, sorry.
No. Let's keep
I
going.
need to know this.
Do you guys how many dogs do you have? Because we're dog people. So I always fantasize about going to Europe specifically with my dogs.
Yes.
That to me means you've made it.
Oh, we have.
Do you want to tell? Well,
We have.
this
a
might
lot.
endanger us from getting
I know.
arrested
We're-
in the Los
we have an
Angeles
illegal
Oh,
area.
you have an
number of
illegal amount of dogs?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh
Whoa.
hell yeah.
Wait, what do you mean hell yeah? You mean
Oh,
way above the
like,
legal limit?
Hell yeah, double hell yeah.
Wait, you have double the legal limit?
I don't know. I have a faint recollection. I think I buried it so that I could claim innocent, like dumb innocence, if
You're
we
s-
did ever get arrested. But we have 5 dogs and 3 cats. We have 8 animals.
Well, I
But-
think you're allowed 4 dogs.
Oh, I thought it was like 3.
Isn't
and
there a
we
cat
were-
dog
like a
compounding law?
combination?
Well, to be fair, though, we live in an 892 square foot house. So-
Are you guys? You live in a mansion.
We live in a. We decided
To buy a tiny
to buy a
bungalow.
house, and I was renting a very bigger house, and then we bought
We bought a
smaller
little
house
house.
because that's what we wanted to pay.
yeah.
Wait. So you
And then
have a
we
teeny.
found another dog a month later, so
After
now
we
we have
moved in.
5
So-
dogs.
So you had
and 3
4,
cats.
3 cats.
We had
you bought
4 and 3 cats, and then
We found a 5th dog in the street the month after we moved into our little house.
we were eating dinner on a Friday night about a month after we bought the house, and we already were about to lose our minds in the little teeny house with all the dogs.
Yeah, and I looked up and I saw like a white fluff scutter across the street. And-
along traffic on
on
Fountain.
And I looked at Paula and I said, "There's an unaccompanied dog outside," and she was like, "Go."
We went into
And,
lesbian
like-
mode, and I pulled out my radio. And went, we've got an unchipped,
Wait.
It's so hard.
unfixed.
Do lesbians
Poodle mix?
have radios?
We have
Is that-
radios.
That's part of it.
Yeah, and
We have dog
chips in
dispatch
our- yeah.
radios.
You have
And
to
I
do
did a deep squat. And then I asked for bread from the server, left all our stuff there,
We
my
had ordered
purse.
a bunch of food, and we were like, just box all of it.
But when I found my dog Mayor Cutie, I didn't know if I was gonna.
Mayor Cutie.
She's a
Mayor
Chihuahua.
Cutie.
Has an IMDb page if you want to look her
I'm
up.
going to punch you in the face. That dog's name is Mayor Cutie.
She
That is the
loves
cutest
it.
thing. Oh, that's the
Wait,
cutest.
but so when we found her, she wait, what was I just gonna say?
I don't know. Something about Peggy Guggenheim, I think.
No, when we found her, I went to get her groomed, and the guy goes, "I don't know if I'm gonna keep her." He goes, "Oh, they find you, honey." And then I was like, "Oh,
They
I have
do
to
fi-
have
they
her."
do
So
find-
you had to have that fluff.
And just to add a little spiritual element, I had just sold my house from my previous life in the Hudson Valley in New York. And it was like a real heartbreaker. And I was out in the yard as I was leaving, and I was literally crying at the base of a tree because I had buried all the ashes of all my pets over the years. And I thought I would just always live there to the end of my life. And I was crying, and I apologized to the ashes of my animals and one of my human friends that I've left them there and sold this house. And then the next week is when we found Gary.
And then also, unbeknownst to Paula, while she was out weeping at the tree, she had another set of, because I was helping her pack up all her stuff. And I was sitting, I don't know if it was at the same time, but at some point in that weekend, I sat in front of all the other ashes that she had left over and spoke out loud and introduced myself to all.
She
of the
introduced herself to all
said,
my
"Hey,
past
guys,
pets'
it was so
ashes.
good
That's
to
how
meet you,"
fucking
and-
tender Janine
and so
Brito
that's-
is.
That is sweet. Now, did you introduce yourself to the human remains?
I think I
just the
did because they
pets?
were all there
You were like,
in the same place.
bitch, were you dating Paula
I'm
or
like-
just a friend?
It'd be kind of funny to like.
Because I will
to
fight
diss-
you.
It'd be kind of funny to like cold shoulder human remains and just say, "I'm not talking to you right now. I'm
Also, it
talking to
sounds
the
like
dog."
Paula has more in common with Peggy Guggenheim than we thought.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you're wanting to know who this is. Yeah, it's funny, Janine. When you got here, you were like, you guys said, "Oh, well, we have kind of just an hour to work with," and then you got here, and your reasoning was that you wanted to get home to your dogs. And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, like kind of cut the cord a little bit. And then now I'm hearing the story, in fact, of your living situation.
Yeah.
How many? In fact, you have to get home before your craftsman has been consumed by
Right.
these
Yes.
animals.
Right.
And because most of them are seniors, all but one are seniors, so
Oh.
they physically cannot hold in their
Every time we
trinkles.
wake up in the morning, we know that they didn't eat us in the middle of the night because they could all just
could
decide to
overtake
eat
us.
us.
We
Animals
have
make
senior
your life-
dogs too. It gets depressing, doesn't it? My dog's having seizures. Her dog has.
Mayor Cutie is on a lot of medication.
We have a lot. We have a Chihuahua with very, very enlarged old heart.
Testicles.
That's
No, but his pee-pee is always out.
he's got a penis murmur. He's got a severe penis murmur. But we have a Beagle Basset that just got neurosurgery and got a tumor taken out of his spine.
Oh, you don't play.
He's had 6 weeks of bed rest. Try to do bed rest on a Beagle Basset.
I think I just figured out why you bought the smaller house. Your dog brain surgery budget is out of control this year.
So, do you guys you guys seem like you get along really well. Do you have a core issue?
Well, wait, I want to know, because I want to know that. But I want to know because I don't know, because I know Janine, but I don't know you that well.
Yeah.
I know your work. But how did you find each other? Because you guys are all lovey-dovey online and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know the story. How do you guys find each other?
It is.
Which version you want to know? Just kidding. No, I'll start and you chime in. She was basically like a friend on Twitter. It was that weird thing where you just kind of know someone from seeing their face on Twitter. And I had gotten divorced from my wife of 17 years and moved out to LA.
Buried her under that tree next to
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm glad.
Just kidding, Dee, if you're listening to this. And I came out here sort of with the feeling of I'm going to go to LA. I lived out in the country in New York. I didn't even live in the city anymore. And I was almost always working out here instead of there. So I was like, I need to come out here. And my best friend lived out here. And so I just decided, I have younger gay friends out here. I'm going to come out and meet somebody, and they still go out, and it's going to be all good. And then I got here, and the realization of being like in my early 50s, because I'm 56, and, was super fucking depressing. And I lived in West Hollywood. And so I went through a series of 3 years of really, really terrible depression. And after my divorce, and I had a lot of people, trying to fix me up. And they would call me and be like, there's this person, just hear me out. Because anytime anyone tried to send me on a date, it was a disaster.
Hear me out is a bad
absolutely,
bad rejoinder,
yes.
isn't it? Hear me out.
And so I was really, really, really done with that, because anytime I did it, it was just really weird and depressing, because I would go out on dates and then the person, it was like, oh no, they want to go out with you. And then I'd go out with them and they wouldn't act like they were on a date at all. And then I would be like, do they want to just be my friend? Is this not that I wanted to like completely, make out the first date, but I just wanted to feel like I was on a date a little bit. And I hated dating so much and always did. And anyone I was ever with, it was either through work or through, just friends or whatever.
You just wanted somebody that the possibility of rescuing multiple stray dogs was there. Yeah.
Exactly. I just wanted to know that they would be amenable to that. And so I went out with this person a couple times, and it was one of those feelings of like, what is this? I don't, and it was making me more and more depressed and more and more. And then I got so crazy that I called my pet sitter and I said, I need to go away tonight. I'm going to go and get an Airbnb in Joshua Tree. And I got weed and booze. I brought wine and weed and all my self-help books and
sounds fun.
my crystals and everything. I made like a giant backpack. I said, I got to get out of town. It sounded like a suicide
No,
trip,
it did
but
until when you stopped before pills. I was happy in the story.
No,
I didn't
it
hear
was
pills.
no pills.
Yeah.
So I went, and then I will have her tell you the rest of it.
Oh, and then I was
Meanwhilest,
I was a part of a sketch team at UCB, and we were doing this like really big retreat to just bond as a team and get some writing done.
Kind of a group suicide thing.
And something happened that week where Trump did something, and I tweeted like, I'm gonna find an Airbnb to fuck off forever, was the gist of the tweet. And then I got
think
a
it was
DM.
the original Muslim ban. I think it was
that's
the
what it
very
was, yeah.
original first
attempt.
Are
yeah.
you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. And then I got a DM from Paula, and she was like, oh, this made me laugh because I just did that. I got an Airbnb in Joshua Tree. And when I read the DM, I was in a car on my way to Joshua Tree.
And you guys
for
had
the
already
retreat.
previously DM'd?
No,
No.
but we had met in person.
We met
She was
one
at
time at a
show
stand-up
was
show
doing.
that my friend was hosting, and she was in.
Yeah.
And it was one of those Twitter faces where you go, oh, we know each other. And we've never been in a room together, but somehow we feel comfortable with each other.
Now,
but I
was-
thought she was in her 20s because she is
She do
Cuban
look
and
young.
Icelandic,
Yes.
and she looks like she's,
Ageless beauty.
and she is in her
I'm in my 30s.
later 30s.
Oh, damn. I thought you were going to say 40s.
I thought you were going to say teens, and I didn't know where we were going with this. Wait, that's so. Wait,
So I did
wait,
a deep dive to see on Google, like,
Is this appropriate?
if
Yeah.
this is appropriate. And then I was like, you know what? 20 years, every guy in Hollywood does
Yeah,
20
it's
years
time for you.
or more.
Yeah.
And
Wait.
so I was like, I'm not going to worry about it.
Did you?
And you're going to look the same in 10 years. That's the good
Yes.
news.
I'm going to look the same till I hit 70, and then a spring's going to burst, and I'm going to look like
No, then you're
the
just
lady.
Then you're gonna put on a turban and some like darker glasses, and you're gonna look awesome.
Yeah. My dream is to look like Marlon Brando and Dr. Moreau. Just have a white moo-moo.
I wish there was a documentary about that. That would be so fascinating.
So wait, when you slid into those DMs,
Yes.
Was it like one half that's funny, one half like here's a little bit of
Well, I was so terrified by that time of every time I ever got vulnerable and went out with someone, it felt like horrendously wrong. Like I every single time would come home and go, it's official. I am the least attractive. There's something so off-putting about me. I either talk too much or I this or I that. And I would just decide.
You're being really hard on yourself.
Decide and believe many terrible things about
Right.
myself, each time validated
Right,
because
right,
this
right.
person would not ask me out again or whatever. But I also was just so afraid to ever really pretend like I'm hitting on them or anything. And so with her, I was super terrified of it because she was actually someone who was 100% my type, and like really, I always thought she was so cute, but I thought she was so much younger. And so I was really, really afraid to say anything. And then this was my come on line. We reread it sometimes when we're
Sure.
revisiting. Is I said to her, because we talked, and then at one point I said a whole long thing about I got divorced and all that. And then there was radio silence
Oh,
for
that's the
24
worst
hours.
feeling on earth.
And my friend was like, why did you talk about your divorce right away? And I was like, I just was trying to share why I came out here with all these self-help books.
What were you doing in those 24 hours?
A lot of pa, zip, zap, zop.
Oh.
Improv games.
A lot of-
Just-
she was
you were
doing
yes
improv.
ending,
Yeah,
except
yeah.
in a weird way you were no ending her
No.
DMs.
And I was
That's so funny that you're
completely-
freaking out. You're in
And
a
I'm
you're in a
doing-
self-esteem spiral, and
Yes.
she's on stage just like, oh yeah, well yes, I'm the waitress here. I'll be right there with your turkey. Just having
And I
so
was in
much
a weird
fun.
Airbnb in this Joshua Tree, like tiny little Airbnb, complete silence everywhere, like you're on Mars, and a lot of green grasshoppers inside the Airbnb that would suddenly like jump at you. And it was the weirdest, most surreal feeling place. And so I said that, didn't hear from her at all. Then she sent me this long text and said, oh, Paula, comma, like, I'm so sorry that you have gone through that and blah, blah, blah. And then I just started getting this weird feeling wash over me of like, this person's so kind and they're so, and then I started looking up her age and everything. And I was like, should I just ask her out? And even if it's just like a fun, like she, you know, I know that she's a comedy person, and I want
to find out where you found my age because I need to wipe that from the.
It's IcelandicAncestry.com, I think.
I was in peril. I was in peril of. I just lost my thought. This is 56. No. What was I just saying?
You were.
This is our relationship mostly.
I feel
what did
better.
You were having a.
What did
feeling
Nana
wash.
just say? What was Nana saying?
You were having a feeling wash over you, and you had this feeling of like, oh, maybe this could.
Oh yeah,
You were thinking I was like young and perfect for you in every single way. And
Yes.
kind of that, like you
I
could
was
never do better than me, and what
Yeah,
a gift
so wait,
that
Oh,
would be.
How
I
did
know what
she
it was.
get to
I
you?
was in. I had a feeling all of a sudden of like, should I just fool around? Because that's the other thing that, by the way, I was, even though I'm not usually that person to go just fool around and be able to do it and do it well, but I was kind of just wanting affection and to
Right.
just make out with someone. I mean, I
Especially
had
after 90
zero physical, anything in so long that I just wanted like affection and like to just feel human.
After that many failed dates, too.
Exactly.
It's like,
And to feel so asexual
Right.
about these dates. And so I was just like, what if she's just like a cute little hot butch gay girl that likes older, big blondes? And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just kind of flirt with her a little bit. And so I started talking to her back and forth. And then I finally
ooh,
said,
I got so many grasshoppers on my floor right now. I have no idea.
we flirted about the grasshoppers. I said, I have grasshoppers in here, and one of them jumped on my décolletage. 'Cause I was like, I'm gonna do some young and sexy words,
Sure.
my décolletage.
Some kind of millennial flirtation.
Yeah, a millennial
happening
thing
there,
that
yeah.
she'll know and have to look up immediately.
I never knew how to
in a
pronounce
dusty
that,
old
so
book.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah. And then she said something about, she did a little callback to it later of like, so far I'm not lucking out with anything on my décolletage. We're talking back and forth. And then I finally said, well, in closing, I said, I think you're super funny and you're just great. And I said, if you ever want to be my friend on the playground, I'm good at kickball and I think boys are gross. That was my comment line.
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
And then I didn't hear from her again for a while. And then when she said
back
back,
to
she
LA.
was like, I would love to be your friend on the playground. Then I sat there in bed going, I've just made another comedy friend because I
Right.
said, do you want to be my friend on the play? Like,
It's so funny,
and,
too,
and
because
when you said it too, you could have been a little more direct, but you chose not
couldn't.
to.
It's just fucking scary.
It
I
is
grew up
scary.
as a fat girl. I was never good at like being like, hey, do you want to,
I can't tell you, by the way, how many times I've gotten a DM from a woman that says, I think boys are gross. So I'm really relating to this.
But also, as a
Sorry.
woman, like, I hate coming on to men. Like, I hate coming on to, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I want to be come on to.
Want to be
Yeah.
pursued. But
So
yeah.
it's so hard to be. I don't feel like an aggressor, and it's like,
Well, and I think I did want to like lay it out there because she was more a younger and
But I couldn't
a little
tell.
more butch.
Oh, you didn't
girl.
know.
I couldn't tell for a long time because we texted back and forth for a while.
Yeah.
And I was like showing my friends, being like, I don't know what this is. I don't know if she's flirting or.
And what's a décolletage?
Yeah. What is that?
And then
are
she-
those pogs? I don't know.
And then I asked her over for dinner, and she came over for dinner, and we
Hung out
spent
for 8 hours.
we spent hours and hours and hours together up by
Yeah.
the pool drinking wine and.
But then you didn't try anything, so I left that being like, I still don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that
both
is also
left,
a bad
and I
feeling.
called
I
my
know that feeling.
I called my friend immediately after, and I said she's amazing, but she just wants to be my friend. That was what I said to her. I called Michelle
Isn't that
and said
funny?
that.
I have a memory of that with Natasha, where early on in our dating life, we went to this party, and I was really sure everything was going good, and then I was playing a tape that I'd written
Yep.
at some point, and I go, oh, I see. She's not interested at all in me. Oh, okay. I'll just have to. I was like all grumpy the whole night. I had a terrible
you know
party.
what's funny though? Now hearing you say that, I remember that night, and I think that's when I realized I really liked you, so I was kind of being a bitch.
Then she came to eat.
You were angry that you liked him.
Yeah, I was just kind of like trying.
She came out to eat that night, and I thought, oh, maybe I'm wrong here. And it's just very funny that everybody brings their baggage
It's
and their
just
script
the
to the
worst.
relationship.
I mean, because you really are back at 8th grade.
Yeah,
And
you become 8th grade almost again.
and then you get into a real relationship like you guys are in, and it's like you get this level of comfort with the person. You go, I can't believe this is the person I was dancing that like fake dance with.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And now how
it's
long has it been?
crazy.
Over 2 years.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
almost 2.5 years.
yeah.
We're engaged.
Mazel tov.
We still don't have a date, but
Who proposed and how?
I proposed first, and then she proposed.
Yeah, I proposed back.
Oh, is that the traditional lesbian proposal?
We
One
just-
gets
we
down on
just
a
made
knee,
that
stands
up. I
up,
don't
the
know
other
if there's
person
a
gets
rule.
down
Like
on
it.
it.
I don't know if there's a rule, but I asked her first, and then and gave her a ring, and then she, a couple months later, surprised me and had a bunch of little candles up in the bedroom, and I came up. She called me upstairs, and I came up there, and she was sitting on the bed like
Aw.
with a chihuahua behind.
with
me.
like
course.
a bunch of
Well,
dogs.
there's
on
no
the
option
bed.
to not have a
There's-
chihuahua
no, they're
behind you at your
everywhere.
house. That's
with
right.
candles sticking out of the chihuahua's butts. And
No, it's a little brain.
Yeah.
His exposed brain had a
Yeah,
candle coming
yeah.
out. I'm excited about this next ad.
Moshe has been talking about this product for a long time.
Well, I bought one. It's an Away suitcase. I bought one. I was actually gifted one, and then someone stole it from me, and I have been just pining over it ever since. So when I heard that Away wanted us to read about their product on our podcast, I was excited because I already loved the product. They create these really cool suitcases. They're kind of classic looking, and they've got USB cords that you can charge your phone on, but they're removable to comply with FCC, FDA, whatever the F is.
And they're lightweight, durable. The shell is made to last for a lifetime of travel.
Unless somebody steals your shit. They give a 100-day trial, which will let you try one of these products on the road. I swear, I travel for a living, so does Natasha. This is the best suitcase I've ever had.
There's a built-in compression pad that helps you pack more in, a range of unique personalization offerings, including hand painting, which we didn't get.
You can stuff so much into an Away bag that is a carry-on. When I had it, I never, ever, ever needed to check a bag.
TSA approved combination locks, keeps your belongings safe.
I am so happy that I have an Away bag back in my life, and I think now you have the opportunity to have that too, because we have a special offer for our listeners. Okay, check this out. If you go to awaytravel.com/honeymoon and use the promo code honeymoon, you'll get $20 off of a suitcase. You're already thinking about how ratty your suitcase is. Get the best suitcase I've ever owned. I travel for a living. awaytravel.com/honeymoon, promo code honeymoon, $20 off your suitcase. You know, what do I always say to you in bed, Natasha?
When it comes to meat, quality matters.
That's right. That's what I say. But I also say there's more to it than texture and taste. But we're all trying to eat more ethically sourced meat, right? For those of us that do eat meat, we all want it to be cleaner. We want it to have less impact on the environment. We want it to have less gross stuff in it. Well, that's why ButcherBox has created an unbelievable assortment of 100% grass-fed beefs, heritage breed porks, wild-caught salmon, and it's way better than the stuff that you find in the frozen aisle at the grocery store. They've got free-range organic chicken.
This is high-quality meat that comes right to your house. All meat is free of antibiotics and added hormones. Each box is 9 to 11 pounds of meat.
They send it straight to you. It's enough for, 24 individual meals.
Packed fresh, shipped frozen, and vacuum sealed so it stays that way.
It's a super no-brainer. It's the best meat shipped to your door. It comes to your door. That means one less trip to the grocery store.
And free shipping.
They also have sugar and nitrate-free bacon. It's the way meat should be. If you're going to eat meat, go to butcherbox.com/honeymoon and use the promo code honeymoon at checkout.
That's butcherbox.com/honeymoon or use promo code honeymoon at checkout.
What do you get if you use that promo code? You get 2 pounds of ground beef, 2 packs of bacon, completely free, and $20 off your first box.
I made chicken soup with our Butcher Box.
I remember it was so good, and it felt clean. Butcherbox.com/honeymoon. Use the promo code honeymoon at checkout. Beautiful. So now you're together, 2 years, you're getting married. That is beautiful. Well, now let's get to the nitty gritty.
Yeah, let's get to the fucking dirt.
Yeah, what do you guys? Now you've had plenty of time for the honeymoon phase to wear off. What's your fight about the most often?
Well, you laughed because one time I got very buzzed, and Paula took advantage of that moment.
A few weeks ago, it wasn't that long ago. You came home.
Yeah, and
really
I was real
buzzed,
and
I was not. And I said, I want to ask you some questions because I knew that she was drunk enough to where I could get some.
It was like a truth serum.
Yeah,
it was a real truth serum.
Whoa, that's so cool! You took advantage of that.
And I said, and this is how it played out. I said, Janine, what do you hate the most about me?
And before she finished the sentence, I said, driving.
It just jumped on it so immediately.
What a dangerous game you were playing, by the way.
And so we've had a lot of conversations since then.
She doesn't like your driving.
No.
What's wrong with your driving? Is it her perception or is it your driving?
I think it's both. I think she decided that I'm a terrible driver. My friend that I have spent a lot of time with also gives me shit about my driving. And so the two of them had a little commiseration about it.
Well, you've been driving in a small town in New York for the past
But I
15
used to
years.
drive in New York City every single week. So I drive into the city and work and come in, commute and everything. I was always driving.
So you make them nervous.
I have survived. I have.
Does she text
I
and
am
drive? 'Cause
not.
Moshe
I am
texts
not
and drives.
an erratic driver. It's actually the opposite. Is what bugs her is like I'm a little tentative.
A little
so
indecisive.
so she doesn't like that. In
And
my opinion,
I
goes,
am a Miami aggressive.
She
driver.
drives very
Right.
aggressively.
You're like
and
tossing
I-
baggies of cocaine
Yeah.
on the windshield of the
Yeah,
guy
and
behind you.
in LA and New York, there's just so many pedestrians and so many cars that I have always had a little bit of a hesitation of like, be careful, and she does not care for it.
Now-
but yeah,
sorry, please.
No, but what's frustrating about that, quite honestly,
Yeah.
is that if you know that that this is the other side of it, is that she is a very ragey driver.
I have horrible road
Horrible.
rage.
So she has horrible road rage to people, and it's a lot of questions. It's a lot of sarcastic questions, and it gives me a little anxious stomachache.
Oh, you
sometimes,
have like
'cause
a running dialogue.
just a
with the
running
other driver.
dialogue of like, oh,
can do
re-
that.
oh, that's great,
Yeah.
but like sarcastic praising of like, that's a great idea. Oh, so you're going left? That's fucking amazing. Good job. That's wonderful. And it's like,
Yeah.
Daddy's mad. Like I get that stomachache, like
Right.
that
And not the
egg-shelly
good
feeling.
daddy's mad.
Right,
Yeah.
sure.
The fun daddy's
And,
mad.
and so I am like stuck because she doesn't want me to
Yeah.
drive. So then I have to have her drive, but then
And then
she's
This
a
is a-
angry.
biatch
This
on
is,
the road.
I love this dynamic, which is like, what is the thing that bothers you the most about me? It's your driving. Okay, well, actually, you're actually a
Yeah.
terrible driver.
I feel like we're opposite spectrums of terrible drivers, where I feel like Paula's too tentative and slow, and then I'm like way too angry and speed demon. And
You
like,
guys should go on
cutting
a
them out of
date a
traffic.
week in like an Uber.
In an Uber.
But like a nice one. Like
I
an
think
Uber
I have another
black.
pitch. You guys should get a Tesla with the auto drive function,
Yes.
and neither of you gets to drive anymore. It just seems so simple.
That would really solve a lot of
Oh my God.
my
Moshe,
problems.
let's take some calls.
Oh yeah, we got to take some calls. But wait, I have one more question.
Yes.
What did you ever answer?
Yeah,
Has
what
the
do you-
question
what-
been reversed?
They each hate each other's driving.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, I also have a little bit of OCD control issues. So if things in the house aren't very particular, I get very
Yeah,
grumpy. I know
we are
that's-
very because we've both been through a lot of therapy and a lot
Yeah.
of you
I
know
think we
sort of
communicate our
dysfunction
stuff
in
very
relationships. We are really good now at, we call it tapping out, where we'll just tap each other out. If the other one is like too worked up, it's like, I'm tapping you out on this. Like,
And you leave. The other person leaves.
It
well,
takes me a little. Because I
leave
am a
from the
control
situation
freak. Yeah.
that's
I like
escalating.
that. I like
because-
that. The
because-
problem I immediately hear with that is you tap me out, and I say, "You don't fucking tap me out. I'm not ready to get tapped out right now, motherfucker. I'm here. I'm in."
But that's the thing, is you have to agree that if the person does, it's like a safe word,
Right.
But you
It's
really
also slightly condescending though, because you're like, I'm
no, it totally is. It
Can you
totally
do it on the
is.
top of the head?
Yeah, it's honey. You're too amped up.
Yeah.
See, I wish we would have had that when you got in the fight with the Lyft driver.
I get into problem. My issue. I won't go into it. I've gone into it before. Is that I get into conflict with people who disrespect me.
Yes.
And when that conflict begins,
Yes.
I am not in my rational mind.
Yes.
So the worst thing I think in our entire relationship is that has ever happened is Natasha trying to stop me from screaming at
Oh,
someone,
yeah.
and me being like that guy, like
Yeah.
get off of me,
Yeah.
really, you know, like I'm like out of. I'm working on it, and I've gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should tap me. Maybe I should actually tell the Lyft driver when I get in, if at some point this becomes a little bit too much conflict, you can tap me out. I'll tell the Lyft guy, you tap me out.
Love it.
Okay. Well, all right.
Well, one thing I have learned too is, and this is the amazing thing about Janine, is a lot of times her tension is built from like a sense of over responsibility, and my ex was actually like that too. And so when I recognize that, is that they're believing that everything is on their shoulders, and so that's why they're mad, and then they're going to believe that and keep acting as if that. So it's like, I have all this to do, and it's like, no, you actually don't have all that to do. So that's when I tap her out, where I'm like, no
not
one
my
told
sole
you have to do all this. I will do all that, and you can do all this, and therefore not be totally fucking overwhelmed.
What about you? When do you need to be tapped out?
You usually tell me if you need me to do something.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have other, I'm getting.
Yeah, a lot of your attention comes from work stuff, which is stuff that a lot of times I can't take over.
Yeah, and I also struggle with depression, but I'm doing a lot better, and actually I'm off any antidepressants, so it's really amazing. But I think that was probably some of the things you've had to deal with is just like my sadness, and I think that's going pretty well,
Yeah,
right?
It doesn't bother me at all. Like I know that.
Well, I'm glad it doesn't bother you.
I'm glad my sadness, my depression doesn't get on your nerves. Well, I
love that. I'm like, my problem's probably just that I get sad. It's such a fucking bullshit. Like,
But it's true. We have to.
But I mean, it takes a lot of maintenance from the other person. So sometimes I know that's exhausting.
It's not. I don't like. It doesn't
I know.
bother me to like take things on.
Because here's the thing that I realized, because like I can do annoying things, and I know Moshe can do annoying things.
I don't know.
And
Small issue with that.
when you decide to marry someone, you're like, okay, this person like ultimately doesn't annoy me that much.
Yes.
So it's like I can kind of deal with like
they annoy you the least of anyone that you can be around.
That is.
I don't like how he sneezes.
No,
oh my God. On the way here, I sneezed on the way here, and she went.
Paula has
She held her hands to her ears like a lady in church.
It's like
I give myself to it.
sneeze.
I give myself to the sneeze.
I do
It's
too.
a
But
pleasure.
it's like horrifying. But
It
anyway,
hurts
the
your
point
eardrums. You can feel it.
If that's the most annoying
Maybe
thing
you
he
guys should
does-
date, okay?
I'm just saying, like, to their core, they don't annoy us. So it's like you can kind of have some freedom.
That is amen to that. I will
And
say,
ultimately, love is unconditional. And if it's not unconditional, it's fucked up and it ends up being something that does not work.
Exactly.
yeah, and I have to say that you guys do seem like a very healthy couple.
And happy.
I mean, we've only been talking for 45 minutes. I'm sure we could scratch deeper, but it seems like you guys have good communication, and you guys will probably be very helpful to our callers.
Oh, I'd love it.
Would you like to take a call?
Let's take a call.
Let's do it.
Lola is a female-founded company offering a line of organic cotton tampons, pads, liners, and cleansing wipes, all natural.
Yeah, but it's not just tampons and pads. They also offer fun stuff for sex, like condoms, personal lubricant. They basically put all these things into a box and they send them to your door. So you don't have to have an embarrassing trip to the drugstore to get your condoms. You can have everything shipped straight to you from a female-founded company.
Lola's subscription is super flexible. You can change, skip, or cancel your subscription at any time.
And you can totally customize the box too. You can say, I want some tampons, I want some condoms. Oh, my life is getting more excited. I want more condoms and much more lube. You can pick your products, all kinds of good organic stuff. The wipes are safe for use anywhere on your body. You can use them to just freshen up or for a post-sex slurp up.
Have your own box of personal sex toys and
Not toys. Condoms. Lube.
have your own box of personal sex accoutrements
We'll work on this.
shipped to you today.
That's right. Just go to mylola.com and enter the promo code honeymoon30 and you'll get 30% off your first box when you subscribe. That's mylola.com and the promo code honeymoon30 for 30% off right now. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm going crazy with the news cycle and the internet and all the stimulus and stuff, and I just need to relax a little.
Did you know that 1 in 3 U.S. adults doesn't get enough sleep?
It doesn't surprise me at all.
And if you're not sleeping enough, it can affect your cognitive functions during the day, like learning, problem solving, and decision making. So it's very important to get sleep.
We all just need to calm down a bit. And that's why we're partnering with Calm, the #1 app for sleep. Like we said, sleep deficiency does damage, not just to your brain, but your body as well. Sleepless people are more prone to accidents, weight gain, and depression. But with Calm, they've got a whole library of programs designed to help you get the sleep that you need. There's soundscapes and over 100 sleep stories where you just press play on the story and you'll be lulled to sleep by soothing voices like Jerome Flynn from Game of Thrones and Stephen Fry and me if I read this ad calmly enough.
Right now, Endless Honeymoon listeners get 25% off Calm premium subscriptions at calm.com/honeymoon. That's CALM.com/honeymoon.
40 million people have downloaded Calm. Find out why at calm.com/honeymoon and go to sleep.
Hey, we're going to talk to Reagan, like the president, from Washington, D.C.
Like the president.
Hello?
Hey, Reagan.
Hey.
Hi. It's Moshe Kasher.
And Natasha Leggero.
And we have our friends Paula Pell and Janine Brito here with
Hi,
us
Reagan.
as well.
Hi, Reagan.
You have 4 people here trying to help you with your problem.
We're in your house right now.
Yeah,
You have
turn
to
around,
find us.
Reagan.
Well, it's really awkward because I'm at my grandma's house.
No.
So.
We're coming. Okay, what's up? We've never done a call from a grandma's house before. This is exciting.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I'm such a big fan of you guys.
Well, thank you. What's going on? Why did you call? Why did you get in touch?
All right, so I've been dating my boyfriend for 3 years now, and we just moved in together. And so I've always wanted to be in a threesome, but I never got the chance to when I was single. And now that I'm in a relationship, I feel like it's logistically a little harder to do. So I have 2 questions for you guys. My first
Wait,
one
can I just
is,
ask you, hold on, why is it logistically harder
Sure.
to do? You just took care of
One of
2/3
the-
of the elements that you need to, I mean, there's an extra, now you only have to find one person.
Well, I feel like it kind of comes up more naturally when you're single, just like when you're out and drunk and.
What
just
kind of
kinda
wild life are
messing
you
around.
living out there?
Probably like, how old are you? She's probably like 23.
I'm just saying, like when you have your significant other, like you're not actively out there looking for another single person, or not. Like I don't know if like he's super down with it or not. Like I haven't really had.
So
the
what are your
conversation
2
with him yet,
questions?
and-
What are your 2 questions?
So my 2 questions are: I don't know if it should be someone that we know, like the third person, or if it should be someone random that we just like meet at a bar. And I also don't know.
And you
if-
haven't even mentioned it to him yet.
I brought it up to him, just something to kind of like spice up our sex life, I guess. And I think he's always thought that I was joking because he's always like, huh, yeah. And I'm like, no, seriously.
That's what I used to say when Moshe would bring it up.
I would bring it up constantly and got a clear message that because the
You
dynamic
were
is
going for a 4th.
That's
too.
right. The dynamic is usually quite a bit different. I feel like it's much more often in a male-female relational dynamic that there's a guy bringing it
Oh,
up
really?
and a girl saying I'm not necessarily down. I don't know. Maybe that's
Reagan, do you mind me asking, are you talking about bringing a girl in or a male?
So I'm honestly down for either, but I feel like from my boyfriend's perspective, he's probably would be more into the idea of another girl.
Yeah.
So
I like that you're down for either, though.
Yeah.
So your first
2019, right?
Your first question is whether it should be someone that you know or whether it should be a rando. I will tell you from my own personal experience with this that when it comes to group sex, it is one of the most awkward situations in the world. And when it comes and there's a physiological reality of that men have that women don't have, which is that when things get awkward, a man can tell very quickly if it's too awkward for him to participate. What I'm saying is my experience with threesomes, I had 3 of them and 2 of them were unsuccessful physiologically for me. Does that make sense?
He's talking about his kickstand, right?
That's right.
But I mean, I've never had one, but I would definitely think I would not want to dip into my friendship pool.
Yeah, that's really
messy.
risky. Unless your friends are just so free and easy that are the types that.
Yeah, just
But
a real
it's going to
loose
come
Bay
back,
Area.
I think.
Yeah.
You know?
But
Moshe's always pitching friends.
no, I'm not always pitching friends. I'm
The stuttering.
I-
no.
Janine, the door is locked.
I pitch
rather
I
get a
pitch
prostitute.
podcast guests, not friends. No,
I
what-
would rather get a prostitute.
No, I hear that. Here's what
than
I'm
like
saying.
go into like your old friend from Burning Man who we have to see once a year.
But my actual experience with it is that because they're so awkward, the only good threesome I ever had was with a woman I was dating and an ex-girlfriend because I felt comfortable with the both of them.
Well,
So-
that makes sense.
yeah. So even if you go with a stranger, probably make sure that there's somebody that doesn't make you uncomfortable, because threesomes are inherently uncomfortable.
Well, with a stranger, it's more comfortable that it's not a friend. But if it's a stranger, it could also be a stranger that's a narcissist and wants it to all be about them. And then you're clocking the way your boyfriend is with them.
Totally.
And then it's weird that it's like, why are you giving them more attention? I mean, ultimately, 3 people can't have completely at the same time the same amount of sex,
That's
right?
totally true.
Also, what do you do when you have dogs? Like, I always imagine like
With a threesome?
our 3 dogs that sleep with us, and then we have like a prostitute come over, and then
you get
we're
a
like,
hotel room.
Can you be quiet? The baby's sleeping,
Maybe
and
you get
the dogs start barking.
You guys want to hear something funny? Reagan, you'll like this. When I was... Listen, monogamy was not a natural for me.
Yeah.
And so Natasha was worth it for me, but it was a process of me figuring it out of how it would work. And so early on in our relationship, I would be pitching these different things, and I would say, oh, well, maybe like a threesome would be a thing.
But
and
also, let's also say Moshe was incredibly immature.
Sure. When it came to relationships, I was like
Like he had never been in a relationship.
Right.
So he didn't really know how to like do anything.
So
right.
Natasha was trying to push me off on the idea. I guess she didn't want to just say no. And she would say, I just think maybe we should wait until we have a family before we have a threesome. And I would go, why would that be? That feels... I've never...
It's called free babysitting. Yeah.
now maybe I would consider it, I guess.
No, you wouldn't. Okay.
I do have one piece of information that might be tangibly helpful. I've never had a threesome, but before I met Paula, I had decided I was going to have a year of celibacy and then a year of just like wilding out. And there's an app called Feeld, Feeld. That's like a no strings attached, sex positive app. And it's, straight people, queer people, and couples too, looking for a third. And so that's potentially, it's like super private. The understanding on that app is like when you go on it, you don't, like, everyone kind of respects the safe space of that app. And it's sort of like a good place for potentially you and your boyfriend as a couple to field people that you could see would be a good match and would be respectful of you and willing to talk things out so that it's not potentially awkward or a disaster beforehand.
And on what Janine's saying, you guys could go on the app together without any commitment to doing anything.
Yeah.
You could say, okay, we're not ready to say it's going to happen, but we could look, and that could be exciting, and we could talk about it and fantasize about it, and then decide if we're going to take it to the next level.
Here's what I wonder. What's her name again? Reagan.
Yes, Reagan.
Like the president.
Yeah.
like the president who had threesomes
like
constantly.
So when you have a threesome, then do you call the same girl back in like 2 weeks, or how do you prevent it from becoming a relation? It just seems like such a heavy energy to bring into your world, but maybe you're under 40. It just seems like a lot of work.
Well, and that's why is that why you're asking, Reagan, that maybe if you brought
that's what I meant by it's like logistically kind of harder, because in my head I just kind of imagined it to be like a one night stand.
Right.
Don't really do it again kind
That's
of
why
thing.
I think I don't know.
a sex worker or this Field app seems
an app where you've met the person under the premise that that is what's going to happen, and also just talking that through before any of it happens. Because if you are you generally a jealous person with your boyfriend with other people?
I guess I can be a little bit, which is like why I was thinking like I would have to go in with some kind of like ground rules of what I'm comfortable with and what he's
having
comfortable
ground
with.
rules ahead of time, I think, would be really, really smart.
And I can't overstate how awkward things can be in these situations. I have another story. I was dating a girl, and we met a couple. And on Craigslist, just to date myself, we met a couple. We went to their house
on MySpace,
on GeoCities, on AOL Instant Messenger, on the original Pentagon internet. And she and the guy started just getting down immediately. He was like the most confident man in the world, just like having the time of his life. I was like, the kickstand was not, and I was just sitting there. That was one of the most awkward sexual experiences I ever had. It's just a stranger. Just going to.
Did you smoke a cigarette?
I was just like, oh god, like just going to town on this girl I'm dating, and
Were
I'm
you
just
guys
like,
at least drunk?
Oh no, I was sober for all of this. Reagan. So okay, What was question number 2?
It was kind of just like, what are some good ground rules to kind of go over? Because, I mean, I don't know any other couples that have done it, so I don't even really know what to expect or,
Well,
like,
here's
things
the
that I
thing.
should bring up to my boyfriend before we do it.
You clearly have like a healthy sexual appetite, and I think that's really good. And hopefully he shares it with you, and you guys have like a shared sexual worldview. And that, you know, I think you have to kind of, the first step is breaching it, like the conversation, right? Like talking to him about it.
I think we have set
To
out a
see
really
what
good
he
map
thinks.
for you, actually, which is have a real conversation with your partner about what you want. By the way, you saying it's going to be like awkward to bring up, I can almost guarantee that your boyfriend is going to be doing backflips the minute he realizes you're serious this whole time. Then you guys go onto this Field app or a sex worker's websites together. Talk about whether this person is somebody.
Assure him he does not have to have sex with that other woman.
Yeah, that's right. yeah. If he feels any pressure. And you can talk about it and get out in the open your fears, his fears, your
Hey,
desires.
maybe he wants a dude to come in.
Maybe he does. And there's no way to know unless you ask. And then my final bit of advice is suggest maybe he could take a Viagra.
And I also think a big thing going in, even before you do ground rules, go in with the expectation and the understanding that either of you can put the brakes on hard at any time
Love
and
that.
stop
Yes.
everything from happening.
Yes.
And that's okay for either of you to do that. The other person won't be
And-
pissed and the other party won't be awkward about it.
And you might inspire him to be very sexually open with those kind of rules, because then he can kind
Sometimes, yeah, exactly.
And if he does respond to the 2 guys over the 2 girls, I'm actually going to be at the DC Improv January the 31st, that weekend. So just come on by
Okay.
and good luck out there.
Thanks, Reagan. We'll talk
Thanks,
to you later.
Reagan. Good
Let
luck.
Let us know how it goes.
All right. Thank you.
Moshe always makes fun of me how I say goodbye to people.
Oh, thanks. Bye.
Well, because like I'm keeping track of time.
Sure.
Bye.
Do we have?
I think we helped her.
Yeah, I hope so.
We presented some different outcomes for her bad idea, and I think it's going to go really well.
I don't think it's a terrible idea. I do actually think that especially when it's that it's her idea, that if she brings that to the table and the understanding is that this is a casual, fun fantasy
Yes.
fulfillment, it doesn't have to be indecent proposal. The person's haunting your relationship
Right.
from that point on. It can be.
They also just moved in together, right?
That's
so
right.
It's pretty early, probably. So it's not like a thing where 20 years into your marriage, you go, I want to bring in a third, which would make the other person spin
That's
out
a mind
that you
fuck.
don't want.
Yeah. That says more. I'm not happy with what's been happening the last 10. Should we do one more call or should we take some secrets?
We should take some secrets. Because
Okay.
that was a good call.
Sure.
Yeah.
Liquid IV is the fastest, most efficient way to get hydrated. You trying to drink more water? Liquid IV hydrates you 2 to 3 times faster and more efficiently than water alone, with the added bonus of vitamins C, B3, B5, B6, and B12.
Feel good, do good. Liquid IV has donated 1.5 million sticks of their product to date to places like Haiti, Uganda, Puerto Rico, and most recently, Nepal. With each purchase you make, Liquid IV donates a serving to someone in need around the world.
All you do is rip open a stick of Liquid IV, pour it into your water, and get hydrated now. It fuels tough workouts, helps prevent muscle fatigue, promotes healthy post-workout recovery.
It also helps to keep your skin hydrated while flying and can be used before, during, or after flights.
Right now, my listeners will get 25% off at liquidiv.com if you use our promo code honeymoon at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order on Liquid IV's website.
Go to liquidiv.com and enter promo code honeymoon to get your savings and start getting better hydration.
That's liquidiv.com, promo code honeymoon. Don't wait. Start properly hydrating today.
And the secrets are, how do the
They're
secrets
just-
work?
We're just going to
We'll show you right now.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Check this out.
Hi. Okay, so here's my secret. I recently found out that a distant relative of mine has a tail. My mom just volunteered this information after 22 years of not saying anything. So I thought it was really funny, and I was like, oh, I can make jokes about this. This will be a great party trick. Then I got to thinking about, like, the reality that a relative of mine was born with a tail. And my mom said that it's a tail just like you would imagine an animal tail. So do you think this is something that you can really joke about during the dating process? Or do you think this is something, and I don't believe in marriage, but now I'm like, wow, you definitely need to be legally binded to someone. But after you're married, you can be like, by the way, our kids might have tails. Okay, thank you. Bye.
So many turns.
Is this a character actor?
So many turns in that call.
And she wants to bring it right into her dating profile.
What I love is I guess what I'm wondering, it was not what I thought she was going to say, I'm fearful that if I have kids, they'll have a tail, but it was about whether I should bring it up.
Well, yeah, when do I drop the T-bomb when I go out with somebody? First of all,
is that a real thing that can happen?
I've
never heard of that.
Well, I loved the fact, by the way, that her voice was kind of demure and sexy too. I thought it was going to be a whole different. She's like, so here's the thing about me. My uncle is a part dog. My uncle is a camel. I think her mom's lying to her. I don't think this person has a tail.
Now, do you think they were looking on the wrong, on the front?
Oh, they don't know what a penis is?
Yeah.
Because she said it was a tail, like an animal tail. That's pretty long. If you have a prehensile tail or whatever the fuck it's called, I think it's just like a little nub, right?
Laura, can you Google it? Is that a real thing? Can humans have tails?
I think you can have a little bit of a tail, a weird tailbone thing.
Yeah.
And why don't you believe in marriage?
Probably because she's afraid her children are going to be feral.
But that is so funny that you think on a date you should mention that.
That is...
Because you want some laughs.
Here's what I would do. I would not mention the tail. And
Laura, our producer, says that people are born with tails.
are they like in animals?
It's called the vestigial tail.
Called a vestigial tail.
Yeah, I was calling it prehensile.
Oof.
I think she should mine her life for some things to talk about on the date before she brings up the tail.
It's not her tail.
It's not her tail.
Do some journaling. Try to come up with some
It's
quips.
not her tail to talk about.
Yeah, it's not her tail to tell. Yeah, that's
true.
right.
It is
It's not her tail to tell.
And you know what? Your uncle or whoever that is has a hard enough time now with everyone whispering behind his back that he has a tail. Your mom shouldn't tell anybody else.
It
I
could
know.
also be like the game telephone that actually her mom said your uncle has a tail, and then it's just a thing where he's like, one night I killed somebody.
Yeah.
Like it's just a tale.
Right now, it's such a specific type of person that if he's listening right now, Uncle Tail is like, you bitch.
Yeah.
How could you tell her, Sally? Why'd you tell your daughter?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well-
let's take another secret.
Hey dudes, I have a secret. So when I was 15, I was a very sexually frustrated, very deep in the closet gay boy. And porn was fine and all, but it didn't work as an outlet to explore my sexuality in a way that let me interact with another person and speak aloud my queer-ass desires. So I turned to a kind of skeezy gay adult chat roulette and masturbated with strangers on my webcam. Anyway, I ended up connecting with one man in particular, and I gave him my alias contact info so that we could do our thing a couple more times together. And this dude was like late 40s, and I thought I showed my face just infrequently enough to pass as, well, not 15. But after a couple of times jerking for each other on the camera, he asked if I recognized him at all. And turns the fuck out, he was actually a choir director at another school in my district, and he had seen me at district and state competitions and was very good friends with my own choir director. And then he started rolling off in a monologue about how he remembers seeing me performing, and it got just way too real when I grasped the fact that this man had been thirsting for my sophomore in high school bod long before I was catfish cam-jacking with people who I thought would be strangers. So that was 9 years ago, and that man is now in his 50s and working at the same high school, and I never said anything. And now I'm afraid for all the other baby queers who have come after me.
Whoa.
Wow, that's heavy.
Man.
That is some heavy shit.
LOL.
Yeah, that also had a lot of turns, but more emotional.
God.
That was crazy. That was like a movie because he started
started it.
the weird teen horny aggressor.
Yeah.
And then realized he had aggressed himself into a predator's den.
man.
Yeah. That is so crazy.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, if he's feeling any guilt about it, I don't think he should, because I think there are so many crazy child pornography laws are good, but I think the way they're written sometimes, he could be in danger of going to prison for exposing himself over the internet. I think there are some states where even if you are the underage person,
They had that on.
they had that on SVU. I'm sure.
No,
You
they
watched
had it
that.
on Euphoria.
Yeah.
That it was the person that was threatening the high school kid that they can get
in trouble
for
their own photos,
sending naked pictures of themselves.
Yeah. So for their own safety, I think they should let go of that guilt. But then also, I think you can find ways to warn people. I'm sure also that choir director has a reputation following him around already.
Choir director.
What a thing. What a story. I wonder what the right...
He will reign. They're like singing like
I
these
grew up
religious
Catholic,
hymns.
and one of our main priests ended up being outed years later for molesting a lot of the boys that he would take on trips, in quotes. And he died before anything. He died before he was even accused. So that's how it always happens, is they end up dying, and then all this shit comes out.
You know, I don't know
I
if
grew
I...
up Catholic too, and I feel like the nuns were all mean to me too. Like, I feel like
That's
the
very,
nuns-
very different
No, I
story
feel like
that you
the
just
priests
They
told.
molested
were
your
like,
spirit.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's like the priests in our
priests were all
neighborhood
bad
molested
and
all the
weird,
boys.
and then the nuns were mean.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like a bad combo.
It's quite a religion.
There were a lot of angry people in the
Yeah.
Catholic.
Man, I don't know if I agree with you, Janine. I think
Oh,
maybe
interesting.
he should not feel guilty. Guilt is useless
No.
and never helps
Yeah.
in any situation
Yeah.
ever.
I think he could anonymously come forward.
Or
and
even
contact the
now he's a
school.
man. He could contact the guy directly and say what you did was wrong. Are you?
See, now
what-
that is
That's
like,
dangerous.
That
Who
opens
wants to do
that.
that?
Yeah,
That's
I think
dangerous.
going back to your predator, I think he shouldn't.
Oof,
he
what a
needs to
what a
stay
thing.
far,
Oh yeah, I
far
might be
away.
just saying a
Yeah.
thing that I haven't thought through
No.
enough. That is a
Sounds like something a predator would say.
I just think you should contact the guy and not be so fucking uptight.
But just because he's
tell
masturbating
him
with
sorry.
with this guy, does that mean that he's like molesting children?
No, I guess
But
it
it
probably
definitely it crosses
ain't
a
good.
line, yeah,
Just that he's out there.
yeah.
Well, since
Like,
we don't have
should a choir director not be on a chat room at all?
that's a different question. I
Right.
think no.
I think with the
you can-
internet now, it's so terrifying because you think of teachers that are like
Horny.
Kay Letourneau, whatever her name was.
Right,
You know,
Mary Kay Letourneau.
male and female that have the penchant for a young person, and then they can just sit and like go into deep dives on their social media, and it's really a fucking creepy
It's
world.
just crazy. That guy, it's so funny how the obvious answer for that guy was to, when he recognized the guy,
To
say,
run.
Oh, stop.
Right.
I'm out of here. And
Yeah, and
that's,
then-
what a
But
thing.
clearly he probably
Right, because he
figured
tried
it
to
out.
keep it going.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're right.
And he also clearly, the choir director clearly found him, right? Because he said, I've been
chat
watching
roulette.
you perform.
Ew.
and
No,
stuff."
it's chat roulette.
Wait, Moshe, I think he should write a letter to the school.
I think
Yes.
so too.
I think
An
he
anonymous letter to the
anonymous
school.
letter to the school.
Absolutely.
And
I
so
didn't-
they
I
can
didn't
then
quite
get
get
it.
all the
They
Yeah,
can
because
get.
you know
they'll
that
get the
that
letter.
that's too coinky dinky that he.
But it's chat roulette, which is ultimately fully coinciding. I mean,
Right.
Oh, but how does he write the letter?
to be
so he
fair, that
doesn't-
was the greatest day in that young predator's life. That
That's
guy was
true.
like, "Wow,
But
on
he wasn't
chat
young, he
roulette,
was in his
one of the
40s.
people I've been grooming."
Yeah.
Well, I think.
But here's my question: the guy who this happened to, he doesn't want to incriminate himself and be like, "I met him on blank."
Why? Because it's an anonymous email.
But he'll then what if the letter gets published and then the predator will know that he's the one who outed him?
What a thing.
I
What
don't
a
know. I
thing.
mean,
He
I
could
just
write
feel like
it from the
I wouldn't want that.
perspective of like, my friend had this.
I would
happen.
anonymously contact the counselors at that school or something and say, hey, what should I do?
Yeah.
But you're saying if they come to the choir director and say somebody said something about chat roulette.
Yes, they'll know it's
Listen, we're all comedy writers here. Maybe we could workshop the letter that they should write and we could send it in.
Also, I guarantee you that guy that left that message is the guy that left the secret is not the only one. That guy. I mean, that's like
100%.
one of hundreds that
That's
choir
why
director.
you'll feel less guilt if you
Right.
do your due diligence.
Right.
At least send.
let them
That's
know.
right. I think we've come to the solution.
Yes.
If you take secret lever if you take one step as anonymous as you can possibly make it, you will have at least done your due diligence to put out into the world that there's a predator.
It will make your soul feel better, and it won't gnaw at you, because that can physically affect you to have something like that.
Choir directors are like school leaders, and they're people who
and they take trips with the students.
They take trips
a lot of trips,
and they're people who the kids are supposed to look up to and talk to about spiritual things. So I think it's important.
And if there are any parents listening, he did not leave any location information. So every parent in America, just pull your children out of choir. No more choir for kids.
No choir.
But I think anonymous letter to a counselor is a great idea.
I like that too.
The counselor has to have some level of confidentiality and can investigate.
Privacy.
Okay, Moshe, we got to go.
We got to go? Let's do another secret. We got to go?
We do.
Okay.
It's 8:30.
Well, let's do one more, and then we'll call it a night.
Hi, Natasha and Moshe. So I have a secret. One time when I was hooking up with this guy, we had finished having sex, and I looked at him, and I noticed that he was chewing gum, and had been chewing gum throughout our entire sexual encounter. And when I asked him about it, he didn't seem to see that why I would have any reason to be concerned about this. And yes, he did eat me out while he was chewing gum. He said that he just pushed it into the back of his mouth at that time. And so, yeah, I did get a yeast infection because of that. Thanks. Love the podcast.
Wait. Oh, it was like Bubblicious. It wasn't sugar-free gum.
I did get a mint infection.
What happened? She got a yeast infection from gum? Did she just make that up?
No, I think
maybe from the sugar in gum or something.
But here's what happened. That guy's gum flavor was running out, and he wanted to load up with some more flavor.
Pussy flavor. He loved, and that guy loves eating pussy.
Loves it. Loves it.
He's like, this is my favorite flavor right here. You should be flattered, actually. I just want to say that thank God that secret came along. It was a palate cleanser based on a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
So we needed that. We needed some levity.
I just hope that girl shaves, because that would take like 2 days to get out. You'd have to cut it out.
Yeah. Not only did I get a yeast infection, but I could not pee without things going everywhere for a week.
God.
That is great. I love that's so. I don't know. It just feels so male to me too. To look up and the guy be like, "What?"
Just like an Italian stallion. And the wife's feet are just like, yeah.
I don't even see the problem here.
And then she tells us it was like a very famous pitcher, a very famous professional pitcher.
He's like, "What? I like gum. I like fucking. That's who I am."
It also makes me wonder if guys that chew tobacco constantly do stuff with women with tobacco in their mouth.
There you go. That's the bright side. We found the bright side. Thank God this guy was just chewing gum, freshening his breath, not unloading in a spittoon at the side of the bed.
I have something to tell her.
Yeah?
He's a pig. You should dump him.
Yes.
For real.
Well, you guys shouldn't dump
disgusting.
each other, because I honestly, not only do you have one of the cutest meet cutes I've ever heard, but also I really honestly admire the way that you guys communicate with each other. And I'm happy for you on a friend level, Janine, that you found somebody so right for you.
It works.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can see
And I'm happy for
You
you.
two
on the
are
new
cute
thing.
as shit too.
All right. Yes. All right.
High five.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming. What a beautiful love you have, and what a fun time this was.
Thank you. This was so fun.
Thank you.
Fun for us too. Good night.
Good night.